What is going on? I want to welcome you from Half Court for today, Monday, May 23rd. I am your host, Sean Murphy, alongside, whoa, holy, it's just me today. What in the actual heck? I just wanted to come here today and talk a little bit about DeAndre Ayton because, man, I am really tantalized about the idea of the Detroit Pistons signing him. Obviously, the Pistons landed with the 5th overall pick of the lottery, putting us in a weird position. What should we do? Should we stay and try and build and get whatever we can at that 5th spot? Should we try and potentially trade up? Should we potentially try and go even get another pick in the top 10 with Jeremy Grant? But ladies and gentlemen, one thing that pick did was it made me more open to the idea of signing DeAndre Ayton from the Phoenix Suns. Now, Ayton, obviously, he was also part of that 2019 draft class that 2018 draft class, that brought in Marvin Bagley to the league as well. And so you'd have the 2 top players in that draft class. It is the class that they passed on Luka. However, that we would still be getting a player that would be coming in and was a number 1 overall prospect coming into the league. And we've seen him get to the finals. We've seen him be the reason why a finals team was effective when we've seen his ability to protect the paint, his ability to score on the offensive end. This guy took over games in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs too, for the Suns to be able to get to the finals. And there's arguments to be made that if he had a legitimate backup center last year, that the Phoenix Suns are NBA champions. Now, obviously, everything happens this year. It was an absolute cluster. It was an absolute storm. It was an absolute nightmare, but we don't have to talk about that. I mean, there's obviously things from that. I mean, there was the relationship with Monty Williams and DeAndre Ayton, where it looked like that started to crumble a little bit as the season went on. But I think, in my opinion, Detroit could be a good place for DeAndre Ayton because, first of all, you have Troy Weaver and Dwayne Casey in the front office of the coaching staff, so they can set up a culture with expectations and accountability. But at the same time, you can find ways to coach up and develop and work with certain players like DeAndre Ayton. He's obviously the type of guy that needs a little bit more coaching along. Obviously, there's those reports of him being really addicted to video games and staying up all night. Listen, man, this guy's only 23 years old. He's super young. He has growing up to do. He has development to do. And this is a place where he can do that, in my opinion. On top of that, what kind of opportunity do you normally have to add a number 1 overall pick talent to your team? And I think that would be the special thing. And you pair him alongside Cade Cunningham. And as great as Chris Paul was for his career, as great as Chris Paul is as a player, Cade Cunningham might just be able to do more on a basketball court because Cade Cunningham isn't 6'1". He's 6'6", 6'7". And he has a super versatile game and athleticism and things to his game that Chris Paul just simply doesn't. So in my opinion, I think it could be a really dangerous combination with Cade Cunningham and DeAndre Ayton. And then on top of that, you have guys like Marvin Bagley. They can bring off the bench, Isaiah Stewart, that you can throw wherever you want in the lineup. I think defensively, that's a much more threatening team, is it not? I think we would really be able to shore up that paint defense. And then on top of that, you have a guy who can average 18 and 10 and can help us on the boards as well. So I really think there's a lot to like about his fit. I think the way that he plays the game of basketball, he's just a solid player. Now, obviously, the financial. That's where a lot of people get tied up, and that's a lot of people get scared because the question is, do you throw a max level contract to a rookie or to a center is really the thing. But I would argue if you're looking at where the game is going, right now, who's running the game? Because the answer is big men were all at the top of the MVP race. If you look at a lot of the teams that were good in the playoffs this year, they all had at least decent big men. And I mean, say you want about Kevon Looney, but he's like he's the anomaly, right? And I mean, I know the Mavericks, they have Maxi Kleber. I know that the Heat and the Celtics. I mean, the Heat have Bam Adebayo. The Celtics have Robert Williams. So it's important to have a good big and someone that can protect the paint, because in this modern NBA, yes, 3-point shooting is king, but at the end of the day, it's also guys who can go and drive and get easy buckets. People are looking to get easy points as well. And there were multiple times, man, where the Pistons would just let up 60-plus points in the paint. And the problem is you just can't let that happen in the modern NBA. You just can't. And as much as I love Isaiah Stewart, as much as I like Kelly Olynyk, and as much as I love Marvin Bagley, you know, it's at the end of the day, we don't have enough rim protection in-house. So the Pistons need to do something. Now, obviously, there's cheaper options out there on the market. There's guys like Bryant from Washington that will be on the free agent market. There's guys like Mo Bamba, Mitchell Robinson. This is a pretty decent class of big men as far as free agents goes. But then there's also some guys in the draft as well, if you want to take a swing, like Jalen Duren. I know a lot of Pistons fans are really high on him. However, in my opinion, you're not going to have the opportunity at a center that's better than DeAndre Ayton this year. You're not going to have the opportunity at a center that's better than DeAndre Ayton next year. And that's someone that can really come in and change the entire dynamic of your team. And I like bringing in reclamation projects. I like the ability to develop players in-house. I like when they're aggressive and Troy Weaver wants to make decisions and wants to go out and make this team better in ways that are sneaky. But at the same time, sometimes you need a little bit more of a surefire thing. And maybe the big man position is a place that we would really like to have more of a surefire thing with some of the inconsistencies and the instabilities that we've had. Now, obviously, there's the elephant in the room. Sean, do we want to sign another guy that could be like Andre Drummond? And in my opinion, I don't see it that way, because I think DeAndre Ayton is going to have the opportunity coming up here where he has 4 years that he's going to have on any other team other than the Suns. The Suns can only offer him 5. Everyone else can only offer him 4. He's going to have 4 years on a max contract to prove his worth and to prove what he can be in this league. And this is the type of contract, this is the type of opportunity. And if you're looking at any of the other situations that DeAndre Ayton can join, I would argue the Pistons is his best option as well. Not just because you have Cade Cunningham, not just because you have the coaching staff, not just because you have the front office and the infrastructure and everything that the Detroit Pistons have, but also, in my opinion, you need a fresh start. You need to get out of Phoenix after everything, the way that ended. It was an ugly, miserable season that ended terribly. But in my opinion, I think that this could be a match made in heaven. And for the Pistons, you still have salary flexibility beyond this year. So you still have another $38 million that frees up after this season. So if you sign DeAndre Ayton and it ultimately doesn't work out, you still have flexibility to go out and make your roster better. And you can also move that contract if need be, because eventually it becomes an expiring contract. So in my opinion, I think it's a moderate risk, high reward potential deal. I think it's one that makes us better immediately, because you look at what he did in Phoenix and how much Devin Booker and Chris Paul unlocked his game. I think Cade Cunningham could do that in a very similar way. And then you go and get another guard, or you get another guy like Jaden Ivey and Shaedon Sharpe this summer. And then you're looking at other guys that could possibly do the same. So in my opinion, I think the Ayton move would be really interesting for the Pistons. But the question is, what do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you to everyone that helped us get to 1,000 subscribers. It really means a lot. We're really excited here at the channel. Going to do a lot of great things. We're at sponsors coming up soon. We have ads that will be on the videos at some point. But on top of that, we have a lot of great videos and content coming down the line this week. We're going to be talking about Benedict Mathurin tomorrow, so be sure to check that out. I want to thank y'all for listening, and we will catch you next time from Half Court. Be sure to subscribe.